Thank you all for coming. As you know, we're here to make some preliminary decisions about running our new country prior to the election of a president and a legislature. Before we begin with that, is there any old business we need to cover?
I want to report that the problems with the genetically modified rutabagas have been solved, and that they no longer form blossoms that look like what they used to look like.
Yes, Sergeant Friday?
What about their tendency to murmur vague obscenities under a full moon?
That trait seems to be linked with the gene for production of human growth hormone, so we think we can just live with it.
Thank you, Dr. Who. Anything else? Okay then. You all should have copies of our provisional working document, our temporary constitution to use until we've elected a president and a legislature. So...
I nominate Miss Kinky for president!
Hey!
Aminadab, I haven't called for nominations yet.
Dummy!
So, I hereby open the floor. Wait for it. Nominations for president...
I nominate
Kinky Cumming
for president!
Let the record show that Kinky Cumming was nominated as candidate for president by Aminadab, and the nomination was seconded by Captain Patrick Pat.
Wait a minute. How come he gets to be the nominator and I'm the seconder?
Let the record show that Aminadab and Pat were co-nominators for Kinky.
You guys are adorable.
Yet another useless word enters the lexicon.
I want to nominate Photon to run for president.
I'll second that.
Photon Bismol, nominated and seconded. Nominations for vice president?
Why would we even have nominations for vice president? Just let the person with the second most votes be vice president.
Sounds good to me. Any objections? So be it.
It seems to me we should have some sort of judge, someone to arbitrate when there are disagreements as to what's legal and what's not.
How about our resident hermit and wise man, Mr. Nonose, as first appointee to the Republic of Aminadab Supreme Court? Any objection? No? Good.
Wait! I have an objection.
Take a cold shower. I'm sure it will go away.
Too late. You're now to the Supreme Court. And as the former U.S. Secretary of Defense, I'm sure there's no objection to Captain Patrick Pat being head of the Armed Forces.
Can I just be head of the Air Force instead of all the armed forces?
Captain Pat, as head of the Air Force, what would be your first action?
Well, I think the first thing we should do is get a bunch of airplanes. Okay, I see your point.
Do we even need a military? I mean, in addition to our police force, if someone attacks us, somebody big like Canada has to defend us, or we're dead anyway.
That's a valid point, non-dairy Kramer. Still, any military resistance, no matter how feeble, might serve to deter a not-too-determined aggressor.
In Canada, if they invade to stop us from seceding, we fire a few shots and they what? Say, okay, never mind, and leave?
Forget Canada. We aren't going to fight Canada. They aren't going to send troops here unless we need them to defend us, in which case our unofficial autonomy is ended.
And how do you know this?
In America, Abraham Lincoln is a hero, nay, a god. And he thought the lives of 620,000 men, between 1,000 and 10,000 times the population of our little island, were a fair price to pay, as he put it, to preserve the Union.
Times have changed, Mr. Nonose. We've seen Czechoslovakia split apart peacefully.
Czechoslovakia? Yeah, we've seen that. We've seen Mikhail Gorbachev send Soviet troops into the Baltic states when nobody who actually wanted to be ruled by Moscow. Despite the example of Czechoslovakia, I fear that overall the tendency of national government to invade and occupy the forest regions whose populations prefer to be free of that government has scarcely abated since the day of Mr. Lincoln.
Are you suggesting that the Confederates were not actually traitors?
Of course they're traitors. They lost. If they'd won, they'd be patriots. If the American colonists had lost the Revolutionary War, they'd be traitors.
Hey, look who's here. It's my brother, Captain Pat.
You're Captain Pat.
Well, he's my brother, and his name is also Pat. And he's also a captain, a boat captain.
And Harvey still calls him, he's the boat captain. He's the captain of the tour boat. And Harvey thinks his name is Harvey.
No, I don't. Not anymore.
Call me Ishmael.
He piloted the tour boat that first brought the Mountie Dixie Weevil here.
You mean he crashed the tour boat that brought Dixie Weevil here?
I got another boat.
So where is Dixie Weevil? How peaceful police officer here?
Well, he fell out of bed this morning and sprained something. I don't know. It was nothing serious. Screaming catheter, the medicine man is taken care of. And I brought you a letter. And since the letter...
He seems to be threatened by general melees and a major embarrassment.
What?
It says it's from the People's Republic of the island of ATL. It says that it is the last French possession in the New World. All of Nova Scotia rightfully belongs to them. But they only want this island. They say if we don't vacate the island immediately, they'll take military action.
You think it's a joke?
I don't know. Why don't you and Dixie Weevil step up our nightly patrol, just in case?